Today I'm in Youghal at Safehaven Marine, a name most of you will already know from their sea trial videos that have been shared all over the world. Frank Kowalski and his team here have been designing and building boats since the mid-90s, and over the years they've become the go-to builder for pilot vessels, patrol craft and more recently some remarkable motor yachts. In this video I'll be walking through one of their two factories with Frank to see a pilot boat mid-build and to get a proper look at how these boats take shape from the moulds upwards. If you've seen their boats crashing through big swells in the Irish Sea, this is where that strength and seakeeping ability is engineered in from the very start. I've also filmed a tour on board one of Safehaven Marine's pilot boats during its commissioning before heading out to Dubai. If you'd like to see that video, I'll leave a link in the description. And just to let you know, I've also filmed a full walkthrough of their second Voyager T2000, Safehaven Marine's new long-range performance catamaran, and that video will be coming to the channel in the next couple of weeks. So if you don't want to miss it, make sure you're subscribed and hit the notification bell. Also, as of this upload, hull number 1 of the Voyager T2000 is actually currently listed for sale, and I'll leave a link to my Linktree page in the usual places if you'd like to find out more. So welcome back to the channel. Something really special in this video. I'm here with Frank, the founder of Safehaven Marine, and we're going to have a look around this really impressive facility at some of the pilot boats that are currently in build. So Frank, I know you're going to be a massive hit with the audience. People really respect your work and love what you do. So thanks for giving us the opportunity to come here and film what we're going to be looking at today.
So yeah, here we have 3 pilot boats we're building. This is an Interceptor 48 pilot boat for Miami in the USA. This is another Interceptor 48. She's for Newport in Rhode Island. And behind us there we have a third pilot 48. She's for Coruna in Spain. She's the second pilot boat we built for them.
Oh wow, okay. So the yellow pilot boat is obviously at a more advanced stage of completion than the other. When's that due to finish?
Yeah, well, yeah, you wouldn't think so looking at it, but probably in a month we'll put her in the water, maybe the first week in August, and a few weeks to sea trial her, and then she'll be shipped off to Miami.
Oh wow, so you have a few weeks to do all the sea trialing, test all the systems, then she'll be shipped over to Miami. Yeah. And will this be the first Safehaven Marine pilot boat in the US?
Yes. I mean, we did do one in, I think it was 2019 for San Juan in Puerto Rico, which is, you know, in some way the US state. But yeah, this is the first proper pilot boat to the US.
And you've been building pilot boats, search and rescue boats here for 25 years?
Well, 20 years certainly for the pilot boats. I think, we built our first pilot boat in 2005 for the Port of Cork, and I think we're close to 70 now.
So you've done 70 units now. Wow, that is absolutely... Yeah, I mean, that is incredible. And in terms of the build time, for one like the yellow one there, what is the build time from start to finish, roughly?
Start to finish, if we could just focus, 100% on that, probably about 9-10 months. But, we can never start straight away. We always have an order book, so we have a build schedule. We have to slot it in. So, yeah, generally it's a 12 months delivery for the pilot boats.
Yeah, which is amazing when you consider how much engineering goes into these boats, these all-weather boats that can be operated pretty much throughout any kind of weather. To think that it can be built in 12 months is just incredible. And I guess you've had 2 decades to refine that process over that period. And
yeah, I mean, I have a fantastic team working here. Everyone's been here, most of them for over 10 years, so they're all very skilled. Everyone knows exactly what they're doing, so super efficient.
Well, look, it's an honour to come here. Let's go down and have a look, and we're going to have a look around these pilot boats, and also coming up, we're going to have a look at hull number 2 of the Voyager T2000, so make sure you stick around for that. But yeah, Frank, I'll follow you.
Okay.
So before we jump on board this boat, Frank, can you just tell us a little bit about the design of the hull? Because I've always found that looking at the bow on your boat, it's really unique. It really does have a kind of signature Safehaven Marine. I think it's the different steps here, the different tiers in the steps. So talk to us a little bit about the design of the hulls, the Safehaven Marine hulls.
So yeah, on the Interceptor, certainly the Interceptor range, it's a kind of semi-displacement planing hull.
Yeah.
Not full planing, not full semi-displacement. So she's a twin chine arrangement. So we have the main chine and the second chine. Just keeps the spray knocked down nicely. Spray well here, plenty of flare. You know, that she doesn't bury in a big following sea. And yeah, the sea keeping is pretty good.
It's phenomenal. And what sort of top speed would a hull like this be able to achieve?
Yeah, been semi-displaced. You know, it's not designed for 40, 50 knots. You know, we've done them up to about 34 knots. We did a search and rescue boat for the Faroe Islands, I think in 2021 with water jets. She was about 34 knots. Most of the pilot boats have an operational speed of 25, 26 knots.
Because that's the thing, isn't it? These boats are out operating all day, all weather.
Yeah, you can't really go any faster than 25 knots in rough weather, to be honest. You know, it's hard going otherwise.
Absolutely. Right, let's jump on board and we'll have a look around.
Cool.
The thing that I always notice as well, these pilot boats, these massive defenders around here. I mean, check out the size of that. That is huge.
Yeah. It's designed to absorb the impact when you're going alongside a ship in big waves. Yeah, I mean, it's like a controlled collision in rough weather, so it does need to be strong.
Absolutely, and I think another thing that I always kind of notice immediately on the pilot boats is that the handrail's always inboard rather than outboard.
Yeah. I mean, it's certainly with a pilot boat, when you're alongside a ship, you know, if you have a handrail here, then number one, it's going to get ripped off when the boat rolls, and also, you know, the pilot can get trapped. So yeah, you always have an inboard rail on the pilot boats. With a Hadrian safety rail as well, which has a safety harness, just not fitted yet. Yeah.
Another thing I always notice about pilot boats is the man overboard recovery systems they put on the stern. I mean, they're pretty impressive in themselves, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, you know, you like to think it's never going to happen, but yeah, pilots have fallen overboard. She's just not fitted on this boat yet, but it's a pretty important design feature that you can recover a pilot if he does go overboard, God forbid.
Yeah, I mean, it's just incredibly impressive, and to see it at this stage of build really is an honour, and I think the viewers will love it. Pilot boats didn't always roar in with powerful engines. In fact, the earliest pilot boats were lightweight sailing vessels, single-masted cutters and yawls designed for speed. So the first pilot to reach an incoming ship got the job. Fast forward to today, and those same principles of speed and reliability carry right through to this engine, here to power a modern pilot boat in build. On a boat like this, you typically have the captain, and then would you have another engineer, or would the captain be responsible for also monitoring the engines as well?
Yeah, mostly on most pilot boats now, you have a helmsman and a crewman. So the helmsman's driving the boat, and when the pilot boat goes alongside the ship, the crewman will go out and assist the pilot in climbing the ladder. Sometimes we've seen it whereby there's just one helmsman, but it's quite rare. Mostly there's two.
I've always loved the thought and idea of being a helmsman on a pilot boat, but I think it's a bit too late for me now. But I think what a fantastic job that would be to drive a boat like this all day in all the different conditions that you get. I can imagine it would be fantastic.
It's a lovely job on a sunny day, but I've seen them go out at night in a howling gale in 5 metre seas in force 10, and then it's not such a nice job, so they earn their money on those nights.
That's the thing, they don't get the choice, do they? They have to go out regardless of the weather, which is why boats like these are built with so much redundancy and so much capability in mind.
Yeah, they've got to survive those conditions, no matter what, really.
Okay, so here we are in the cabin, and as you can see, everything's being fitted out at the moment. And Frank, a little bit of information in here in terms of the setup. So obviously you have the seats both on the port and the starboard side. How many pilots would be expected to be on this boat at any one time?
Well, we have different configurations with the Pilot 48. The standard configuration will be 7 seats, 3 along here, 3 here, and a central helm position. But we can put 2 banks along there, so we can increase it to about, I think, 11 in total. So it really depends on the operational role of the pilot boat, how many pilots they've got to carry, things like that.
And just aft here, you'll notice, I don't know whether you pan down on the camera there, just how high that threshold is. The watertight integrity of the boat is obviously really important. I guess when you're underway, that's going to be shut. And when this door is shut and the port door is shut, everything in here is pretty much watertight?
Yeah. I mean, this is mostly its regulations. You need 400 mil of a sill height for commercial pilot boats. But yeah, when you shut this watertight door, the boat is inherently self-righting. So she will recover. Everything will stay watertight.
Which is incredible. So if she does capsize, which is very unlikely, she will self-right.
Yeah, she would. Yeah.
And how does that work in terms of the exhaust, the engine exhaust? I guess, are they on a pilot boat? Where are they located?
Well, so yeah, I mean, there's two ways to look at the rollover. We've done simulated tests. We've rolled them over with cranes. I've even stayed inside a few times.
How was that?
Yeah, it was interesting.
I'll bet.
You see the water coming up the windows. But it's a very quick scenario. From when you release the crane to coming upright is 3 seconds. So we're working on the principle really that any rollover is an extremely fast and violent situation, and you're just going to leave the engines running. What's the worst case scenario? You might, theoretically lose a bit of oil pressure at the top of the engine, but in 10 seconds I don't think so. The engines running will keep any water from coming back into the engines, into the turbos, so everything will just keep running. And then with the engines running, when you do recover and you've got another big braking wave coming and down, you don't have to mess around trying to start the engines. Just engage gears and head up to it. So there's two schools of thought. One, some people would prefer to have the engines switch off with a micro switch, and then others will leave it running. So it just depends on which you prefer. I prefer to leave them running, so I'm ready for the next wave when it comes up. But it's it's an extremely rare event. You're only ever going to capsize a boat in heavy breaking surf. There's when you're out in open water, even in force 9, 10. The waves aren't really plunging like surf, and that's the kind of wave that will capsize you, not an open ocean wave. Of course, anything can happen, but it's really the kind of surf waves you get when you're crossing a bar that are the most dangerous.
And a boat of this size can go out up to force 12?
Yeah, the wind is nothing without waves. So it really depends on the sea state. I mean, I think we've taken this out in 8 metre breaking waves, breaking surf. As long as you keep square, you're okay. But you wouldn't want to be beam on at all. So
I think that's one of the things that people love watching about your videos is seeing you going out on the sea trials on the boats that you build. And taking her out in the really rough conditions. I think people really admire you for that. Yeah,
I do like to test the boats in rough weather. If you're going to build something, you're going to say it's going to be able to do this, I think you need to prove it. And we do prove it.
No, absolutely. Come in, we'll have a look at the helm position, because on your pilot boats, the helm position, and I guess it's the same with all pilot boats, is always amidships?
Yeah, I mean, it's best. I mean, it gives you equal ability to come along port or starboard side to a ship, If you have it on the starboard side, then it's always good starboard. The port side, you can't see so much. So, most pilot boats nowadays all have a nice central helm position.
And here is where obviously we have the steering wheel, the multifunction displays on the helm there. Over to our starboard, we have the controls for what will be the twin Scania engines on this. What size engines are going to go in this one?
Yeah, she has a pair of DI 13 litre Scania, 500 horsepower, but 500 horsepower continuous operation. So at 1800 RPM, they can run all day long at that. And that gives her an operational speed of about 25 knots.
That's the thing, isn't it? These boats clock up hundreds, if not thousands of hours per year, right?
Yeah, I mean, we've seen the pilot boats 2,500, 3,000 hours per year, which is a lot.
Yeah. And I know the viewers will probably ask this about the thickness of the windows. How much can they withstand in terms of waves, and how thick do they have to be?
Well, no one really can say.
Yeah.
But we go with 20 mil for the front windows here. If we have them forward facing, we might go 22 mil, just because the pressure loadings are higher. But 20 mil is pretty thick, really.
What is the design decisions that goes into deciding whether they are forward raking or reverse raking, and what's the benefit, the pros and cons of each?
Yeah, there's pros and cons to each. Really, each have their benefit. I suppose the big advantage of this configuration with them sloping aft is that the pressure loadings when you take a big green sea over the bow aren't so high. The water kind of hits the windows and is deflected up. Whereas when you're having them forward sloping, there's the pressure loadings on the glass, as you can imagine, just a lot higher.
Yeah.
The advantage of forward sloping is you have less glare travelling up onto the screens at night from the navigation equipment. And it clears water better. When you do get green water or spray onto the boat, the vertical or forward sloping windows clears the water faster than the aft sloping. So pros and cons. They both have their own advantages looks wise.
Yeah. And with the design feature like that, is that something you advise your clients on, or do they come to you and say, what do you suggest?
We did tend to I did tend to favour the aft.
Yeah.
Most of my early designs of pilot boats did have forward sloping, but I did change to aft sloping just only because of the heavy breaking waves.
Yeah.
But it's pretty rare that you're going to experience that. But when they are aft facing, and you see a big wall of water coming down over the bow, you don't tend to duck so much.
Yeah, absolutely. And in terms of the crew, I mean, obviously it's been fitted out down there at the moment. What kind of facilities would the crew expect on a boat like this, of this size, down below?
Yeah, I mean, it depends. Some of the pilot boats we do where they might be out on 24-hour shifts or 12-hour shifts where they need some liveaboard facilities onto the boat. So if it's specified, this can have 2 sleeping berths. We always have a separate bathroom and heads compartment, separate electrical compartments. We have a galley down there. So you can live aboard it. That's one of the advantages of having a nice spacious forward cabin. Not always needed, but sometimes it is.
So obviously down below deck at the moment on this beautiful pilot boat. Frank, what have we got down here in terms of the configuration?
Yeah, so we have the accommodation here. We have a collision bulkhead here. We have 2 berths here. We'll have a table in between. We'll have a galley here. Nice large bathroom here, and we have an electrical compartment. You can have a quick look in there where we have all the electrics in one compartment. Easy to look after and service everything.
And for those that don't know, in terms of the collision bulkhead, what purpose does it serve, and how does it save the boat?
Well, if you hit and it's happened a few times on boats, you hit a navigation buoy at 25 knots, you're going to blow in the bow.
Yeah.
So having a collision bulkhead means that doesn't, the flooding there won't be critical to the boat. So you can.
And how thick does that bulkhead have to be?
It's pretty thick. It's 18 mil solid plywood.
Yeah.
With multiple layers of fiberglass. So when you blow the front of the bow in, and then that will withstand the water pressure. And you could flood any one compartment in the boat and it won't sink. So it has single compartment flooding survivability. So any one of these compartments could get flooded and should stay afloat.
So when this is at sea, would there be another bulkhead here with a watertight door on this part as well?
No, that's the collision bulkhead. Some places you can put a watertight door and you can get access to there for storage and stuff. Some certification authorities just won't allow anything in there. So in this situation, it's a solid collision bulkhead.
Yeah.
You've got access to the front compartment from a weathertight water deck, from a deck on the bow.
Yeah. And then obviously heading aft, we've got the entrance into the engine room that's being fitted out at the moment.
Have a quick look in there, Kaz, you can see.
And remind us again the size of the engines on this one?
They're 13-litre Scanias, 500 horsepower continuous.
500 horsepower. What's the largest size of engine that you could have on a pilot boat of this size?
You can get the engine at different ratings. So these engines can go up to about 600 horsepower, but it's a medium duty.
Yeah.
You'd have to go up to something like, actually, the next pilot boat we're building for Rhode Island, she has a pair of Cummins X15. So they're 15-litre engines at 560 horsepower continuous. You can have a look at them in a minute. And that's about as big as you could physically fit in this boat.
And in terms of fuel tank size, what kind of fuel tank capacity would a pilot boat of this size have?
Generally 1,850, 2,000 litres. I think we've done 2,300. It gives you an operational range of 350 nautical miles, which is generally enough.
And fresh water?
Yeah, small, 100, 150 litres, just enough. clean the windscreens and provide some warmth or fresh water.
Every detail you see here has to be perfect. The hull is laid up from layers of advanced composite, strong, lightweight and designed to flex with the sea instead of fighting it. At the same time, all of the structure and fittings are made and finished with absolute precision, because a pilot boat has to absorb heavy impacts when coming alongside a ship. Even the engines are installed under strict inspection, every component checked and signed off. So when you see the sparks flying, you're not just watching fabrication, you're watching the craftsmanship and attention to detail that ensure these boats can self-right, stay watertight and bring pilots home safely in the harshest conditions. So Frank, do you do everything here yourself?
Yeah, literally everything. We have our own engineers, electricians, welders, carpenters, shipwrights, everything is done in-house.
I was talking to your general manager earlier on, and he's been here since pretty much day one, right?
Yeah, 20 years now. More than 20 years, I think, yeah. So.
And if people recognise this chap over here, this is Kenny, the...
yeah, when he's not flying a drone, he's my welder.
He's the first time I've seen Kenny without a DJI drone control in his hand, yeah. But no, I mean, you've got a fantastic team here. How many people do you have on site here?
In total, 42.
Wow, okay.
Small company, but yeah.
Thanks for watching, and I'd also like to say a massive thank you to Frank and his team for showing me around the impressive facility. Don't forget to keep an eye out for the second video in this series, where Frank and I take a look at hull number 2 of the T2000 under build. If you would like to find out more about Safehaven Marine, you'll find some information on my Linktree page. And if you enjoyed this video, do consider subscribing and giving it a like, it really helps the channel. But until next time, fair winds and following seas.